So we ended up sending Bryce Young to the Broncos, and in return, we get Mac Jones, and not a current 2, but a future 2. And I think that receiver that's best going to fit us is actually Jerry Jeudy. And that's the deal we're going to make. Strongest offensive line. So we get a toss out wide and a little subtle juke play earlier. And he's getting not the play that time. Should have been a sack. Need to go that way or go with the in, but it's just off. So let's start moving ahead a little bit and see if we can course correct. And we definitely turned some things around here, including a 45-14 dominant divisional win over the Panthers. Gibbs here, look for a toss to the outside, and we've got all the space to the outside. Should be an easy score, but Mac Jones missed the throw. That is 2 big losses with a mix of 2 big wins. So at this point, we are just very hit or miss. And I don't know what it is with this team, but they just don't like us watching any of the games. Because when we watch, we've lost. But every time that we've simmed, we've won as we go on a 3-game winning streak. After the bye, we would drop the game to the Jaguars. And that one is pretty big because that officially clinches the division for the Buccaneers. The Buffalo Bills, they took it in the 4th quarter as we gave up 14 points without scoring any ourselves. 28-21. They end our season. And following an improved season over our last that saw us make the playoffs due to the divisional rule, this season would be the opposite. We would have the positive record, but because of that divisional rule, we did not make the playoffs. 1 game away from getting back to what would have been our 3rd appearance. We've made it up until that point every single season so far, but now we miss, and the Alabama State-only challenge here needs to reload as we move into season 4. And you can see the end of season 3 here. The Cardinals did win the Super Bowl 27-25 over the Ravens. The MVP, Jalen Hurts, the yearly award winners over on the right-hand side. We did not win any awards, though we did have a few Pro Bowlers, including our new quarterback in Mac Jones. So that trade I still think ended up working out pretty well for us, though we are going to have a similar situation today with Tyreek Hill. Who we end up switching him for, we will see, but that is the plan moving forward. Now, we did not have any retirees, so we are moving straight into the re-signing period. And Josh Jacobs is a big one on the list here. Roy Davis, not really that big. As we move down the line here, looks like mostly some backup players, and we'll probably actually move on from a good bit of these players. So first and foremost, Josh Jacobs. Really need to lock him down. He is 28. He's looking for a 3-year deal. Let's just sweeten it up a little bit, make it a slightly better deal for him. Raise up the bonus as well. We got a decent little bit of cap space here, and I would hate to miss out on him. So it's actually going to be a $22.5 million contract per year. Make that offer, and he's just not interested in re-signing. So what would it take for the franchise tag? That's actually about 10 mil cheaper for us, so that's probably a great opportunity for us to do that. So yeah, let's just go ahead and spin the franchise tag on Josh Jacobs. As for Roy Davis, he's a pretty low overall 68 and 24, so we're going to move on from him. Same for Bobby Samuel. And Rashaan Evans, he was relegated down to a backup last year, so we're going to see what our options are in open free agency. Garrett Stidham may end up having to come back, but again, we'll see what our options are. Titus Howard would be a probably pretty good backup, but that's all he would be, and he didn't play that much this year, so we'll move on from him for now. Damian Harris has interest in coming back as a backup, and I would be perfectly fine keeping him around as a backup. Make it 3.5 per season, and he will be back. Now, as for Eddie Jackson, he doesn't have any interest. Neither really do I. Again, he was a backup. Darius Williams, he was, I believe, actually one of our starters, but he seemed to hit some major regression. So we'll see what our options are again in open free agency. A'Shawn Robinson going to move on from. Jerron Reed, Probably going to move on from him as well. Ryan Kelly, a 78. I believe we have a guy ready to take over for him. So we'll let him move on for now. Still might bring him back in open free agency, and the punter we will also let go. So really nothing big outside of re-signing a backup running back and franchise tagging the starting running back. And as for open free agency, actually went really well for us with what we had available. We brought in a new receiver in Calvin Ridley, and he's definitely going to be in that starting rotation, though I still plan on making a trade with Tyreek Hill. We also brought in another receiver in Jalen Tolbert. That's an area that just hasn't produced as much as expected, so we're going to throw as many players at it as possible. We brought back CJ Mosley. Whether he gets the start or he's truly just a mentor for some of the younger guys, we will see. We also brought in a new player in Byron Young, a defensive tackle, to be in the rotation. We also brought back Jerron Reed, brought back Rashaan Evans, and brought back Jarrett Stidham. Now moving us forward to talk about the draft and what we could do here. Well, we do have, at least on the offensive side, a receiver in Braxton Samuel. Round 3 to 4 just doesn't look that great. All the top ratings here, at least the main 4 that it shows us, are D's or F. So not looking very good for the skill position, but we also already brought in some receivers. There is a late option here for tight end in Clay Lennon, a vertical threat, a true day 3 talent, 21 years old, overall a pretty solid athlete. And there's a mixture of some B's, some C's, a little bit of some D's sprinkled in there. So he's not going to be top end talent, but could be some decent depth. And with a day 3 pick, that's definitely a solid pickup. However, the top guys, they're going to be for the offensive line, not though Terrence Medlin. On the opposite side, you have Corey Kincaid, a round 1 to 2 true talent. And sure, there's some good there. I just think our offensive line is good. I don't think we need any help there. So you get to the defensive side. There is Connor Booker, an Auburn interior defensive lineman. I don't think he's going to help us out too much. But again, it's a mid-round selection. If we have a spot, we could go with it. He's not very fast, quick, or agile, really. He has a little bit of strength to his game. He would be a depth player. Then there's some more depth players down the line here. The other top option would be Terry Stokes, a free safety, but really our safety group is solid. I don't think there's any way we could bring in Terry Stokes and he would be an improvement on anyone that we have. So pretty much what I'm saying is that all of our draft picks are up for us to then use to trade for players. So let's take care of those trades right now before the draft so we know what we have left over and if the draft is even going to be useful for us. So starting off with, who do we have that we can trade? Well, Tyreek Hill is atop of my board. Now, he's regressed a little bit, but he's 32. He's still a superstar, no longer an X factor. The ratings still all look really good. And what I would love to do would be to use Tyreek Hill to trade for another top end receiver. And I'm not sure what it will take to get this done, but Devontae Smith is the guy I want to go after. I feel like that would be a very easy switch between the two. He'd play essentially the same exact role, though he could actually probably play more so on the outside. Meanwhile, I felt like Tyreek probably should have played more on the inside. But even just a straight up trade here, where does that leave us? And we're a little bit past midway. And what it'll actually end up taking is quite a bit. We have to give them our current 2, 3, 4, and a 7 plus a third next year. But that's going to bring in Smith, and there was not enough players for us to even use these picks on anyway, so we'll take it. We bring in a new starting receiver, and hopefully Hill has fun elsewhere. And as for the next player I'm looking to trade, it is Jahmyr Gibbs. The reason I'm looking to trade him is because we just have not used him very much, and the way that this series works with it being a sim is that Madden doesn't really put him in. No matter what we do, it's pretty much Josh Jacobs, and he can do everything we need him to. So we're actually going to be going back to the Cowboys because they have a certain edge rusher I would love to bring in Will Anderson Jr. Now, this trade, just straight up, it's going to require possibly a good bit more. And indeed, it did take a good bit more. We have to give away Gibbs a first round pick this year, a 4th this year, our 2 5ths this year, plus we have to give up our 2nd next year. but we get one of the best edge rushers possible. And that leaves us with a pretty depleted set of picks. We have a 2 and a 6 remaining. So let's jump into this draft and just see what our options are. I mean, really, worst case scenario, we end up just trading away our picks for next year. See what that draft class holds. So let's get to our pick in this second round, about mid-second round, and just see if any of our options are still available. That would be a decent spot to go here. So obviously, Braxton Samuel here, not a top option, I would say. The offensive linemen are gone. There is Connor Booker. He'd be a depth option for us. And then the safety is also gone. So what we could potentially do here is honestly just trade away this pick, as mentioned earlier. And then if he's available in that 6th round, pick up Clay Lennon. That might be pretty good for us. So let's take a look, see what our trade options are, and look for something really just for next year. And I think the best option is going to be with the New England Patriots. We get a 2nd round pick plus a 6 next year, and then in 2028 another 6 and a 7. So who knows if we'll actually be able to use those, maybe be able to use that bottom bit to maybe make some other trades. Either way, that is what we're going to go with. But unfortunately, by the time we would get to our 6th round pick, that tight end did end up going. So do any of these other guys really even seem intriguing? Well, we could definitely use some depth now at running back, only having really 2 guys. There is Silas McCoy, 5'9", 204, 22 years old. He's not very fast, not very strong. Break tackle doesn't look to be great. There's some vision, but overall he does not look very promising. But since we did miss out on the tight end, there is a receiver out of Alabama in Steven Spencer, who is 6'4", 234. I'm pretty sure I drafted a tight end of similar size to that in the Panthers traditional franchise. Now, he doesn't come in with a lot of strength. 15 to 16 bench reps, but honestly, I've also seen tight ends with that same kind of range. The speed would be pretty good at tight end, and again, he's a big dude. And he has a run block. Now, as a receiver, who knows exactly what that is, but if that's at least close to like a 60, I think he could transition to tight end, considering he doesn't have great route running. He's injury prone. He's a depth player. I think we take a shot with Spencer here, our only draftee of this class. Move him to tight end. He's a normal dev with 88 speed, 67 strength. He's got some good acceleration, though he could jump. Maybe we got a jump ball to a tight end kind of guy here, and he's wearing a tight end number. So let's see what he is as a tight end. And he would come in at a 68 overall. Now, funny enough, that was also his same rating as a receiver. So he's meant to play either. As his looking wise at his ratings for tight end, solid. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys you pick up that look very similar to this. Awareness is pretty low, but he has some short route running capabilities. The run block comes in just shy of 60, so I think that is fine. We could work on that. The lead block isn't great, but he's a depth guy who would come in really for that jump ball. Not come in that often, as the injury, though, is a 79. And with a pretty quick offseason through, here's our starting lineup moving into season 4. The offensive line, 4 of 5 starters return. The second year in, Reese gets the start at center, and he was pretty much the same overall, if not slightly higher than the regressing Ryan. As for tight end, it's still going to be Everett, the top guy, with Irv Smith Jr. backing up, and then Latu being the third. We have our new starting receiver in Devontae Smith. Jerry Jeudy, he'll play outside for the 2 receiver set, though when we go wide to 3, Calvin Ridley will step in for that outside guy, sending Jeudy to the slot. Jacobs and Harris are going to be our primary running backs, and I moved the receiver Isaiah Hutchins from last year's draft to running back. He actually moved up to a 75. I don't want him out there that often, though, because the carrying is low. He's pretty much there to just be depth if we need it. Hopefully we don't, fingers crossed, knock on wood. As for the defense, not much really changed here outside of Will Anderson Jr. We finally have a true edge rusher on this team, and hopefully he shows up. Him and Allen, if they could rack up some sacks, that would be great. McIntyre is now a starter defensive tackle in the base packages, only a run stopper. Wilson, Tuotuo, and Harrison Jr. are the primary linebackers again for the base package. Whenever we switch to the nickel set, it's going to be Mosley as well as Wilson Sr., then Tuotuo and Harrison Jr. might even rotate from there. Safeties stay the same as last year, Fitzpatrick at free, Battle at strong. Corners, it's going to be McCreary number 1, Barlow a split at number 2. Again, base packages, he will be the second guy out there. However, he will go to the nickel and will bring in Luter Jr. because he actually has some better all-around coverage ratings rather than Noah. So that is what we're looking like heading into this next season. One last thing, Reed is still going to be a pass rusher for us from the interior because we don't really have that guy waiting, and we did not boost McIntyre with those upgrades, just stuck to run stopper, so maybe even Deshaun Hand will get out there a little bit, but really we need Allen and Anderson to just wreak havoc this year. And we start in week 1 with a division battle. In fact, the first 3 games at least are all division, so not going to want to get too much into these games, but let's start with just going through some quarter sims. And our season begins on the road as we give up a touchdown our first drive. Struggled to find any points ourselves. We drove a couple times, just didn't end up in any points. Also forgot to mention, we now have both the Carlson brothers. We get a touchdown, we give up a touchdown, get a field goal, and that is where we go to half. So yeah, we did move Anders Carlson to punter. Did forget to mention that. As we start the second half, a pretty defensive game that we get a field goal. Looks like they were driving as we enter the fourth quarter here. Knocked away by Mac Wilson Sr. They're all the way down to the left-hand side here, and they take the field goal. Offense. Let's get a good drive going here with all the weapons we have. We get sacked by Mafe to back us up, 2nd and 19. But with all the weapons we do have, we should be finding some chunk plays, which we get here, 25 yards to Everett. First down, keeping this drive going. Mac Jones rushes it a little bit. Back to then Josh Jacobs, 3rd and 1. Pick it up with a gain of 3 by Mac Jones. Hey, however we need to do it, let's do it. We find Devontae Smith, gain of 6. Then we get a penalty, Will Reese. Probably holding, gonna back us up. 3rd and 14 after the throwaway. And another throwaway drive stalls at midfield. Defense, good start, loss of 3. We then give up 9 to Marquise Brown. Get the stop here. No, they just squeeze it out with JoJo Stevens. And then get a nice chunk play there right after, going back to Marquise Brown. At about 4 minutes left here, we still need a stop and a touchdown, and we get the stop there. Gardner Minshew, the quarterback. Gotta love to see it. This is a big drive and one we need to end with a touchdown. So let's see what we have here. Starting with a heavy set. Got the strong I formation. Go with a run. Not really a clean start to the run. We gain only 1. Jacobs 12 rushes, 59 yards. So nothing dramatic there. I want to say that's close to about 5 yards a carry, which, I mean, that is pretty good. We're just clearly not giving the ball too much. Pass rush arrives, but we find our guy. That is Judy with the catch up to midfield. Clearly took me a second there to remember the number, especially with the rotation we've had at this receiver group. 1st and 10, Mac Jones with a clean pocket, delivers to number 0. That is Calvin Ridley. So far we've pretty much seen all the new guys get involved, at least on the offense. Defense, not so much. 2 receiver stack, both sides. Going up top, we had a wide open Everett, though he forgot that you need to look to the inside of the field, not the sideline. 3rd and 3. 2 tight ends up top, 2 receivers down to the bottom. We will go with Jacobs. Good push up front and a first down. 2-minute warning. I would love to get in the end zone here, quite obviously, but chew the remaining clock. 3 receivers up top. Will be a pass. Jones across the middle. Going back to Judy. Gain of 6. Not a clean day throwing for Mac Jones. 17 of 32, sitting around 50% completion, which is the opposite of what we saw from him last year. 70% completion as we have 3rd and 1 following the check down. And we head at it with a spread look. 2 down the bottom, 1 up top. Actually, 2 up top. As that snap a little bit off, we go with the pass, and it's through the hands of Ridley. With all the talent we have at receiver, we should not be seeing drops, but we got to go for it here. It's a long yard, about 1.5 yards. Get a push down the middle. Jacobs breaks one, but he does not get it. I don't believe. No one really celebrating anything here, and they actually give it to us. Okay, we get that one by 1 millimeter at best. As the clock ticking around 1 minute left. Got our tight end coming across. That's Irv Smith Jr. But I always want to call him senior for some reason. He picks up the first. And with that, he also stops the clock. So we have all of our timeouts. So it could be a little bit, we can run. We don't have to pass the ball. And we will go with the run here. It was a good job, though, from the corner. Just sat, made us decide in McKinney. But here is a new wrinkle to the playbook. It is Latu, the tight end, in at quarterback. And he's going with essentially a quarterback draw. He finds some space. Good gain there. Makes it 3rd and 1 as we call a timeout. I really like that. It's probably in here for Taysom Hill. But that is definitely something I want to keep in the back of my head for when I design my next playbook. Look for Jerry Jeudy. I want that to be a quick out. See what ends up opening up here. We got the receiver coming across. Doesn't quite open up. But we have Devontae Smith with a lead. 26 seconds left. PAT makes it a field goal game. A heck of a way to start his time here in the Alabama State-only challenge. Potentially the game-winning touchdown. That's at least as long as our defense stands strong here. The Falcons do have all of their timeouts remaining. This is where we need Will Anderson Jr. to make a play. Speak of it, he gets involved as well as Allen. Those were the two we really needed to come through. First timeout called. It's a loss of 10. Gardner Minshew nearly threw a pick, and honestly, we probably should have got flagged for that late hit. Will definitely be a nice check, or not check, but a bill waiting in the locker room for our safety there. I'm going to assume 8K. I don't know. The numbers never made sense to me. 3rd and 20. Gardner Minshew flagged down, rolling, throwing, missing anyone, but does the ref save them? No holding, decline it. Just send it to 4th and 20. And that's exactly what the CPU does, or AI. Thank you for that. 4th and game here for the Falcons in week 1. Gardner Minshew from the pocket, stepping up, throwing downfield and over his open receiver. That could have been the game-winning play for the Falcons. Instead, it's a game-winning play for us here as we take the knee. Come on, don't call a timeout there. That ruins it. And they'll probably end up doing it once again here. With 3 seconds left, Jones with the knee. Yep, there goes the timeout. So 3rd time is the charm. This is the winning play. 3rd and 12, we take the knee and we start 1-0. You could also peep at the bottom there real quick. Panthers losing to the Vikings 21-7. So we know at least we're above the Falcons. We're above the Panthers. Now we just got to get above the Buccaneers. And as we jump into week 2, the Buccaneers also lost in week 1. So this is really an early claim for the top of our division in only week 2. Good first quarter for us. We get a touchdown, only give up a field goal. Though then we give up a touchdown and give up a second touchdown before halftime. So a quick switch there from the Buccaneers as they now lead 17-7, make it 24-7. Offense, can we score? We get a field goal to start the 4th quarter. Well, honestly, we're down multiple possessions here. We can slow it down a little bit. Let's see if this offense can make some plays. 4th and 13, yeah, got to punt that one. Or actually, they punt it. Great. We take over. We need a touchdown drive here. Get 6 yards with Everett. 4 to Josh Jacobs. 2nd and 6. First down, Jerry Jeudy. Let's steady march down the field here. We need some touchdowns. I'll take the penalty on Gonzalez. 1st and 10. 5 more. We're down to the 16. Give me a fresh set. We'll jump in. There we go at the 10. With about 5.5 minutes left. Need to pull one back here down 14. We go spread empty. 3 up top, 2 down the bottom. Mac Jones has a clear throw. He finds, I believe that is Smith. Hard to tell. Was in a bundle of players. Picks up about 4 yards, 2nd and goal now. We go with a heavy I. 2 receivers down to the bottom, though we hand it off Jacobs with a lane towards the end zone, and he inches in right before he got popped. We pull one back here. A big touchdown now. Let's build upon it. This really comes down to our defense getting the big stop that we need. As we are under 5 minutes left, 12 yards to Chenault. That's not a great start there for us. 15 to Hunter Henry. Past midfield, and a sack comes in. Allen, let that be the change we need. 3rd and 3. Defense gives up 14. We've got to hold here. We cannot give up a field goal. 3rd and 5. A sack from Allen. What do we get? A field goal from Tyler Bass. Once again, a 2-score game. And it opens up for us here on the kickoff. Noah, he's at the 30, the 20, the 10, 5. Quick splat touchdown on the return. That still gives us hope here. We just need the defense to come through in a massive way, just as a special teams unit did there. So it all comes down to this. Under 2 minutes left, we have all 3 timeouts. We need a stop here from the defense. There's Saquon down the middle, who will pick up 4. First timeout called. They just need 6 more to get the big win here in week 2. Back to Saquon down the middle, who will pick up the first down and a good bit more. Unless we could force a turnover here, that will probably do it for us in this one. Saquon Barkley does not run them to a win yet. They're still running the ball. They have not taken a knee. Considering we got the kickoff, who knows what could happen. But the first down there, yeah, that will do it. Unfortunately, on the last play for us, Aaron Brewer injured for Tampa Bay, but they get the big win. So it's really a little bit of some mixed play here to start off with. Some good, some bad, but we're waiting to way late in these games to try to make our big plays. That part we've got to fix now. And the best time to try to fix that is now, on the road against the 0-2 Panthers. Defense gets a stop, and I'm assuming at some point we got a safety there. We are up 9-0 at the end of the quarter. All right, let's try to build upon it. We get a field goal. I want us to get some touchdowns here as we give up a touchdown just before half. It is 12-7. Let's get through the third quarter here. Can we start to pull away? Will we make it? Yeah, we're starting to pull away. It's 26-7. Let's try to get through this quarter a little bit quicker, end of the game a little bit quicker to end our away streak against all of our rivals to start this game, or start the season even. Sack comes in by Anthony Jennings. Gotta love to see it. 2nd and 18, they get 4. 3rd and long, thrown away. Yeah, we're doing what we needed to do. A lot of pressure on the Panthers here. Right now, they're staring at 0-3, and we're looking to potentially take a lead once again. Devontae Smith gets us down inside the 10. We have a chance to have a great start here, not only in division, but just all around. Through the first 3 games, 2-1, that is not bad. Though that's pretty bad, getting picked up, slammed down as Carl Granderson shaken up for the Panthers. Not sure if he was the one that slammed us down, but if so, that is karma. 2nd and goal at the 12. We go back to the run, down the middle, picking up the lost yardage, maybe tack on a couple more. Josh Jacobs, 23 rushes, 131 yards. Really good game for him in this one, but we need to get in the end zone here. Looking for a pass, and we find Jacobs, but it's through his hands. And I want to look for the nail in the coffin here. 4th and goal. Offense will stay out. Let's look for an out route here by Smith. Put that just about a yard inside the end zone. Roll, who do we got? Need something to open up. Mac Jones does not get there. Good stop comes in from number 19. That is Reverend. Turnover on downs. Under 4 minutes left with a multi-score lead. I'll take it. We're just looking for the dagger. Did not get it, but if the defense can get a second safety today, that could be cool. 3rd and 4. Well, tackle for a loss. Do they go for it on 4th? They do, and we take over at the 3. That should be an easy touchdown or a sack, I guess. 2nd and goal, 9 down to the 1. 3rd and goal, Josh Jacobs gets his touchdown, and that puts this game away. We already tacked on some more points as well. Put the 40 bomb on the Panthers. We start 2-1. A great start on the road, again, against all our rivals. That first round of games against them, all said and done. But considering we jumped into these first 3 games, it's time to get some simming underway. And now sitting at the trade deadline, this team is not slowing down. We rattled off 3 more wins. We did take an early bye in week 6. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. But we pulled off a 38-31 win over the Packers, a dominant 35-3 win over the Raiders, and then a crucial win against the Steelers, who were looking really good as well. A 90-plus overall offense. It was a close game, but we won that one 33-30. And we have the Panthers up next. We did really well against them. Couple weeks later, the Buccaneers. The Falcons' final game is in week 14, so our division, it's going to be pretty much sewn up, hopefully at least, by the time we get to week 15, 16, 17, and 18, all just non-divisional games to end the season. So we're definitely going to start getting through these pretty quickly since we have had such a big start to the season. 5-1 as we are sitting here at the trade deadline. So let's jump forward an extra couple of games. Get through the Panthers and the 49ers. The Buccaneers, that was the one loss we had. So maybe we'll pay a little bit more closer attention to that. But let's get through these next 2 games, hopefully with this streak alive. And there's just no slowing down. A 28-20 win over the Panthers. We've swept them this season. A closer game than the previous, but still a win nonetheless. And on top of it, we racked off another win against the 49ers, 38-26. Even though the stats themselves are pretty close outside of the rushing yards, we dominated them in stopping the rush. So great job from the defense there. But that leaves us with a big game and a pretty crucial one for our division, as the Buccaneers, they are sitting right behind us and they beat us earlier this season. It was a close-ish game. We just weren't able to get the stop on defense there late. We had the kick return, but this is a win that we really need. And this time we face them at home, and we start by getting another safety, a 9-0 score line once again. All right, gotta love to see it. And we just continue to build on that. A lot of defensive play here. Now they get a safety on us, and we hit halftime 9-2. Heck of a score here. Let's get into the 3rd. See if this defensive battle keeps going. We give up a field goal and hit the 4th quarter. It is 9-5. Love this score line. 1st and 10, incomplete pass. We're down at the 25. As we get 5 to Jerry Jeudy. Need 5 more here on 3rd. We get 6 Jerry Jeudy, and now I think we jump in. Let's see if we can find ourselves a touchdown here with a single back set, tight look. We hand it off, Jacobs down the middle. It opens up. He gets down to the 1. 14 carries for him so far, 52 yards and 1 touchdown. Though he has his eyes set on a 2nd. As we keep with a heavy look here, though, more tight ends this go around. The only receiver is Smith. As we look for the counter, that got blown up. I want to say Cole Holcomb right down the middle. They'll back us up for 2nd and goal at the 4. 2 receivers up top, 2 tight ends down to the bottom of the line. We're going to send in motion one of those receivers, toss it. That's Jerry Jeudy, who is going to lose a couple more. Well, the Buccaneers defense standing tall here, backed up, but we really could use a touchdown here. As we throw it, caught, touchdown, Jerry Jeudy gets that one. The jet sweep did not work out, but the slant to perfection. And with that, we take an 11-point lead, 16-5. CJ Mosley knocks the pass away. 2nd and 10, they pick up 12 to Bateman. 1st down, to Ayuk, gain of 4. 11 more back to Bateman. He's looking good on this drive. Tackle for a loss of 3. Then they only pick up 1. It is 3rd and long, a throwaway. What do they do here on 4th? Time running out. Feel like they got to go for it. And we pick up a sack with Will Anderson Jr. We take over in plus territory. Though, why are we throwing? Let's just run out the clock or pick up 14 Devontae Smith. That works out as well, as we're close to 3 minutes left here in this one. Potentially going to tack on the dagger here with a touchdown. We're down almost inside the 10. Give me a first down. We could jump in here. 3rd and 1. What do we have? 2-minute warning. Did it actually run a play yet? 3rd and 1. 5-yard gain, Jerry Jeudy. Well, let's try to put this one away here. Already up 11. We could make that up 18. As we hand it off, Jacobs stuff. Timeout number 0. Actually, 3. That would be the proper way to say it. 0 timeouts left. As we go back to Jacobs. Stood up at the 1. Cole Holcomb, as well as I think a safety perhaps, just demolished Jacobs there. Still looking for that second touchdown for him. 3rd and goal, time expiring here on the play clock, and Holcomb did it again. It is just not our luck there on the handoffs. So let's spread wide instead, as the time will tick under 30 seconds left. Got a bunch to the right-hand side, 1 to the left. Who's going to get open for us here? Throw it to the inside, and it's dropped by Calvin Ridley. Luckily, the game was not on the line there. They don't have any timeouts left. They got one more play, and it's a rush by Lucas Park. We will split the series, but widen our lead. Atop of this division, make it now 8-2, sitting very nice, and we'll just knock down the Bucs a little bit more. And we would carry that wins momentum for a good few weeks, unfortunately. In week 14, we tripped up against the Falcons in a 28-14 loss, and a win there could have clinched our spot to win the division and therefore into the playoffs. Instead, now with 4 games remaining, we are 3 games up on the Buccaneers. So essentially, right now, it is a win and we clinch it. Technically, there might be some little things that could happen here and there, but against the 5-8 Lions, that seems really promising. Who do the Buccaneers play here in this week? Well, you can see it second on the right column. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing the 5-8 Carolina Panthers. So this should be I don't say an easy win for both teams, but you would imagine that both teams can get the victory here. So let's sim forward one more week and see where we lie. And we fell victim to the trap game. 36-35. 1 point was the difference in this game. We gave up a lot of yards as well, 467. That could be very costly, but what did the Buccaneers do? They pulled off their win, 29-11, so that pulls them 1 game closer. Well, once again, who do we play? Who do they play? In week 16, we have the 7-7 Dallas Cowboys, the team we sent Tyreek to, the team that we sent Jahmyr Gibbs to. We took a couple of their key guys, and they have not had as successful of a season. But we are only 2 games up now. As for the Buccaneers, they are playing against the Atlanta Falcons, who tripped us up. They could do us a huge favor here in getting a big win for us. And it was a big win here against Dallas, 42-31. Once again, a lot of points being scored. Not sure what's happened to our defense here late on, but that is a massive win. And on top of that, it might have also just clinched our spot. With 2 games left to go, we are currently tied at least for the best team in the NFL. There are 3 teams, all 12-3. Luckily for us, They're on the AFC, we're on the NFC. So great, we are in the playoffs. However, we have not clinched the division. Buccaneers still 2 games behind us. If we win next week, or this week actually, we done it. We have won the division. And on top of that, could definitely help us make sure that we keep a first round bye, as the Cardinals, they're 1 game behind us. So by no means is this season fully done. We're in the playoffs. That's great. But there's still a good bit on the line. The division, the first round bye against the 4-11 Cleveland Browns, though the roster itself actually looks pretty good. Can we pull off the win? Can we clinch even more? No trap game here. 48-17. Defense comes back. Offense just lighten up the scoreboard here. 17 in the second, 14th in the third, and 10 in the fourth. Putting it away. We have won the division. But what about that first round bye? And as it would appear, the Cardinals lost last week. And on top of that, there was another team sitting right there with us. Not sure where they went, because there were 3 teams that all had 12 wins. I don't know. Something weird happened there. Or I'm just not remembering. But that gives us a game up on the Cardinals. Did we play them this year? And looking here, we did not play against the Cardinals. So if we are to lose in Week 18, the Cardinals win, that could put them above us and take our first round bye. But we're getting pretty long here today. So let's see in a quick sim against the Kansas City Chiefs. We already know we're in the playoffs. We already know we won the division. This is just for the first round bye, which is why I'm okay not jumping into this game. We've watched a good bit already today. Against the Chiefs, a win, and we get to take a nice week's vacation before the divisional round. And we would get stunned by the equal record Kansas City Chiefs. They were also, 13th and 3 going into that final game. They get the win. But what did the Cardinals do? They also lost 24-14. So with the Chargers' victory, we have clinched the first round bye. So we clinched everything. We needed a little bit of help there at the end from the Chargers. But that's the playoffs, the first round bye, and the division. We come in and put our best season together. And just as we ended last episode of this series saying, third time might just be the charm. So next time we will see you in the playoffs as we finish this season 13 of regular season, going 13-4. The Buccaneers 12-5. We will view the playoff bracket. We are the number 1 seed. Cardinals 2nd. They face the Giants 7th. Eagles 3, Commanders 6, Lions 4, Buccaneers 5. We will not play against the Buccaneers unless both of us make it to the NFC Conference Championship. Over on the AFC side, well, we just had a battle of the number 1 seeds, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they got the victory. The number 2 seed are the Dolphins against the 7th Ravens. 3 Titans, 6 Raiders, and then behind my head you have the Steelers 4, Bills 5. So that makes it all but 1 year that we've made the playoffs, and arguably that 1 year we should have made it. We had 10 wins. It wasn't a bad season, but we have rebuilt this team, restructured this team, got rid of a lot of our high-end talent from early on. And with that, we have ourselves the number 4 offense, and defense is 19th. Not as good as I was expecting. Let's check the stats before we leave. And what a season from Mac Jones. About 4,400 passing yards, 44 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's the clean game we were looking for and why we traded away Bryce Young. As for the completion percentage, 72%. Rushing, Josh Jacobs just shy of 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, no fumbles. Damian Harris ran the ball a little bit. He had 3.7 yards a rush, 6 touchdowns. He did fumble once. How about the receiver turned running back? 14 carries, 44 yards, no touchdowns, no fumbles. Fine by me. The fullback in Ron Bailey, he had 2 touchdowns this year. Jerry Jeudy ran one in. Jones ran one in. Solid around the board there. Devontae Smith, 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy, a solid number 2 here, coming in just over 950, 10 touchdowns for him. Everett, great year, 7. Ridley, not as impressed with him, but we did see some drops in our time actually out there. Josh Jacobs does get 4 more touchdowns. Mechie, unfortunately, he got relegated down to wide receiver 4. Didn't see much playing time. 1 touchdown this year for him. Irv Smith had 1, as well as the receiver turned running back. He did get 1 touchdown through the air. As for the blocking, how well did we do? Robinson, his worst year here. 11 sacks given up, but still less than 1 a game. Evan Neal, 6. Dickerson, 4. Steen did have to come in because we suffered an injury to Evan Neal the last 4 games. So not a bad job filling in for Tyler Steen. Will Reese, the first year starter, only gave up 2. Fantastic job. Defense, Mac Wilson Sr., 121 tackles. Barlow was our number 2 at 92 tackles. Tackles for a loss, 21 from Will Anderson Jr., 11 from Jonathan Allen, and 10 from Anthony Jennings. Solid group there. Sacks, it was Allen that led us, 11.5. Will Anderson Jr., only 8.5, but still he got stuck into the running game, so I'm fine with that. And just in total, more sacks came this year. In terms of interceptions, Jordan Battle with 5 this year, 3 for both McCreary and Barlow, so the corners showed up. Wilson had 2, and the 1 for Mosley, Harrison, and Luter. Fantastic job. Forced fumbles? We forced 3, we recover 3. How about touchdowns? They're actually safety counts. Both came from Will Anderson Jr. Gotta love it. Touchdowns, 1 from Roger McCreary. Kicking wise, 100 on the extra points. However, Daniel Carlson did miss 4 of his field goals, unlike his brother, who I think only missed 1 his last 2 years. We moved him to punter. I assume they're actually brothers. Maybe it's just a last name. Don't quote me on that. Kick return wise, we did have the 1 from Noah that we saw. Fantastic return. No punt returns though. But all in all, that was a huge way to get us back to the playoffs. But we will finish by taking a look at the injury report, because we did suffer an injury, and it was to Mac Wilson Sr. So we would not get him back until Super Bowl, because he would be out divisional and NFC conference, and if he was in the Pro Bowl, he would be out for that. We'll get back Evan Neal though, so that will be great for the divisional round, but it's a good thing that we ended up bringing back Mosley, because he's going to be starting linebacker heading into the playoffs. But that's exactly where we will meet you next time. We're headed back to the playoffs, season 4, and hopefully this time, 3rd time is the charm. We made it to the divisional round season 1, wild card season 2. The divisional rule knocked us out last year. How far can we go with a team that is running hot? Just under 90 overall across the board for offense, defense, and well, the team overall. Make sure you don't miss it. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down and hit that sub button. And definitely make sure you tap that bell icon so you're notified. You're ready for when the playoffs begin and that 50-like rule comes into play. So, well, again, we'll see you next time. This series every single Wednesday and Saturday. Panthers traditional franchise every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you guys got a lot coming at you. And everyone, I want to see down in the comments below, 3rd time is the charm, as we are back in the playoffs for season 4.
Oh